Hello friends, welcome to Ranker's Q. Get ready for the dictation. B. Need a crash program to improve the condition of our universities. Can we not ensure that at least one university in each state becomes a center of excellence and that at least a dozen Indian universities build a global reputation? We also need to draw up a plan to enable the best NRI talent in the education sector to come back and teach in our universities. One reason for the falling standards of our universities and colleges is that the best and brightest people seem no longer interested in teaching. Their low salaries used to be the reason, but the government has recently raised the emoluments of college teachers to partly solve this problem. Here again the big challenge is to depoliticize the functioning of our universities and colleges so that teachers feel that they have a sense of fulfillment and achievement. Our regulatory bodies, the University Grants Commission, the All India College of Technical Education and the Medical Council of India are all doing good work. However, their functioning needs to improve, especially in their relations with state governments. Our formal education setup could learn a lesson or two from the private sector companies in the area of quality and management. Indian companies that are in the education business, especially those who are in the computer education business, are doing extremely well. They are now worth hundreds of crores. There is, of course, excessive commercialization which is undesirable and must be curbed. However, let us look at the positive side. Their success in creating a relevant syllabus, attracting students, training them, and now their global forays should be emulated by our universities. They too need to be as dynamic and enterprising as these companies. We also need to create a synergy between the formal and the non-formal sectors in education in order to pool their respective strengths. Apart from looking at how people are to be taught, we also need to look at what is taught. We must update our syllabi at all levels to reflect the rapidly changing world. We must also provide modern tools which would help in promoting the scientific temperament in our children. Our school must also impart value education. They must let every student have an understanding of and respect for all the faiths in India and pride in our national cultural. There must be no place for religious bigotry and intolerance. While opposing the President's address, I refer to one point just to place on record my protest. The government has, in the address, enough inkling to open another chapter of harassment and violence towards the minorities, religious and linguistic as well. The government is considering scrapping of the INDT Act. We have made our position very clear over the years that we are against the influx and harboring of foreigners. But on the plea of detecting the foreigners and sending them out, no genuine Indians will be allowed to be harassed. This is our stand. Assam has had enough of this terrible experience. We have always been advocating judicial processes to detect foreigners, and that is why this INDT Act was passed in Parliament in 1983, so that it is the tribunal and not the police which will decide the issue. We still remember that lakhs of Indians were served notices alleging that they were foreigners, but only a few thousand were identified as foreigners, and the historical causes of this situation in the wake of the partition of the country involving both Hindus as well as Muslims cannot just be whisked away. There is another factor which sense of justice and fair play cannot support. According to the provisions of the INDT Act, the burden of proof lies on the complainant to procure evidence that the person suspected is a foreigner. The moment the act is scrapped, the complainant's job will be only to produce the list of persons alleging that they are foreigners, and his responsibility ends there. And the persons who are alleged to be foreigners have to move from pillar to post to secure proof that they are genuine Indian citizens. Even at the time of signing the Assam Accord, the INDT Act was accepted. We are committed to detecting foreigners in accordance with the provisions of the Assam Accord. Our commitment still stands. This sort of injustice and harassment, mainly on religious grounds, strikes at the foundation of a pluralistic society we desire to build. Thus, today the greatest danger exists to the pluralistic concept of polity to which our nation is committed. In spite of limitations and imperfections in the concept of the nation, a state mostly in the third world, there is no alternative model, and the unifying role that it has played in history cannot be denied. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.